Okay, it's very weird. I've not done this before with light shining in my eyes. So welcome to our event on disability supports. Today is June 16th, 2017. My name is Dr. Ellie Stein. I am a psychiatrist in Calgary. I work with patients who have myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and multiple chemical sensitivity. Every year, in around May 12th, for International Awareness Day, I put on some kind of educational event for my patients and sometimes including professionals as well. For the last 3 years, I've worked collaboratively with Mike Finch, formerly of Self Connection Books, and he's the webmaster behind this whole production that's making it available to people online. For the people in the room, we've got way more people online than we have in person. So it might look like a small group, but it's actually much bigger. The reason this event came into being is that as a physician, I'm frequently asked to fill out disability forms. I live in Alberta, so mostly for AISH, for CPP disability, and for private insurance companies. And I always have questions, questions I'm not quite sure how to answer. Or sometimes patients come to me with questions and I can't answer them. So when the suggestion was made to me that we have an education day on disability, I thought that was a great idea, and I'm hoping that we'll get some of those questions answered by our experts. We have 5 experts speaking with us today. One from CPP Disability, who will go first, Chris Johnson. One from AISH, Dale Beasley. Then we're going to have a 10-minute break, so you don't have to panic that you have to sit here for 3 hours without moving. If at any time you need to get up and stretch, please feel free to do that. How it's going to work is each of the speakers is going to be given 30 minutes. I'm hoping that they'll speak a little bit shorter than that so that we can have time for a couple of questions immediately after each talk. I will be moderating the questions. After each speaker, we have 2 volunteer runners. We have John in this aisle and Peter in this aisle at the back. They're going to look for people with their hands up with a piece of paper in their hand. They're going to pick up those pieces of paper and bring them up to the stage, where I will kind of hopefully quickly read through the questions and be able to ask questions of the speakers. At the very end, after all 4 of our speakers, we're going to have another short break. Then we have John Wodak, who's a patient advocate from Edmonton, who's here live. James is supposed to be here, but he's not here, is he? He will be here. So we're going to have 2 people live. John Wodak is live, and James Ludwar, one of our lawyer speakers, is also going to be live. And whichever of the speakers are able to stay online or come back online at the end of the program, we're not 100% sure who's going to be able to do that. And we've got up to an hour to ask additional questions. So we're hoping we'll have plenty of time to get to as many questions as possible. I just want to say that although I work with very specific illnesses, which I've mentioned, ME/CFS, FM, and MCS, and the sponsor of today's event, for whom we're very grateful because that enables all of you to attend at no charge, is the National ME/FM Action Network, the nonprofit organization which is an advocate and provides education for people with those disorders. Issues of disability are generic across chronic health conditions. So for that reason, we actually advertise this event to many chronic health or chronic illness groups. And I'm pretty sure a lot of them are participating today from emails that I've gotten. And the questions really are pretty generic, like there's no special treatment for anyone with any certain disability. I think I've addressed everything. Right, we have a lot of people participating, some here in the room and some online. You'll notice that the pieces of paper I gave you are small. I didn't give you like 3 full-size pieces of paper. That's because I want you to try to make your question brief so that we can get through as many people's questions as possible. The same for the people online. Please make your questions succinct so that I, who have to read it quickly, can quickly grasp the essence of the question and put it to the speaker. Are there any questions? No. I was quickly going to ask, but I can't see you, so I don't know how helpful it's going to be. How many people here are patients who have a chronic disorder? Okay. And how many are caregivers or helpers of patients? And how many are working with agencies who are helping? A few people. Great. Okay.
There's a couple people online, which you...
Yeah, so I would say the majority are patients, but there's quite a few helpers here and a few people from agencies, probably in that order.
I know those agencies are right across the country.
Yeah. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Chris John. Oh, the other thing I want to say is that all of our speakers are volunteering their time. When I emailed each of the speakers, they all said yes without hesitation. And I just feel incredibly grateful to have people of their caliber who really know the field, inside and out, be willing to give of their time freely and answer your questions. So maybe just a round of applause for the speakers. Our first speaker is Chris Johnson. He's the Director General of the CPP Disability Directorate. Now, he might explain what that is. My understanding, it's like a committee. No. Oh, it's the whole thing. So he's in charge of the whole thing? Cool. Even better. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Chris, who you're going to see up on the screen momentarily.